Howdy, Bart here, and welcome back to video 4. Okay, so we've taken out the reference to utilize the lobby map. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and left click on both of those inside the map folder, the lobby map and lobby map build data. Delete and delete. We don't need it anymore. It are gone. So now let's go back into our intro map, or the map, whatever you called it. And we're going to go back into play and selected viewport. And we have our hideous stairs. We have a ball we can roll around. Yay, fun. Okay, lovely. But there's no sound. Everything's so quiet. It's boring. We need to add sounds, make it more interesting. So let's do that. All right. So we have our starter content. We look inside here in the audio folder. We've got a bunch of different sounds we can play with. We have the purple looking lines, which are the actual sound files. These are 16-bit wave files is what the game uses. So if you click on, you'll see the triangle pop up. You left click on here. Lovely. But you also have what's called a sound cue. And what that is you can use that to have multiple sounds inside of a sound cue, and you can say, okay, I want it to randomly pick between these, and then each time you play it, it will play a random different one. Cool. You got explosion sounds. You can actually use those for explosions or for, whatever, sound of a gunfire. Sound of fire crackling, fire sparks, sounds almost the same. Light humming, steam. You've got starter wind. Well, that's the first thing we want to do is we want to add some background noise to what we've got. And you got starter background cue, which is already available, and it's going to have the sound of wind. Sounds of birds chirping. That sounds awesome. Let's go ahead and stop that. If you mouse over it, you see duration is 10,000. Okay. Duration, that's how long the file actually lasts. Explosion, 3.24 seconds. This one is 10,000. So it's a long queue, which that's cool. Well, what we want to do is we're in our map. So we're going to come to where it says blueprints up top. Left click on the little arrow to the right of blueprints. Open level blueprint. And we want to get rid of the event tick. So highlight it and hit delete. And then drag off from the executable link of event begin play. And we want to say play sound at location. Now, location, we can specify the location. We can hit this drop down arrow and we've got all these different things we can do. But first off, let's go ahead and get to where we can see what we're doing. We're going to select our starter background cue. So we're left clicking on it, go back into it, and then we're going to hit the arrow right here next to the magnifying glass, and it's going to go ahead and put that cue in that location, or for the sound itself. Alright, so the volume multiplier, I'm going to go ahead and select this and change this to 0.5. Now, compile, save, go back to the map, hit play. And you should hear it in the background. Awesome. We can hear a little something going on, but the volume is not too loud. It's just enough to where we can hear it in the background. So that sounds good. You can adjust it back and forth with the volume multiplier. You can add start time if you want to, but we're not going to worry about all that stuff right now. But what we want to do is we know that it's 10,000 seconds long. What if we're in there for more than 10,000 seconds? Heaven forbid. So I want to drag off from the executable, and I'm going to select delay. And in that delay, I want to set my duration to 10,001. So 10,001 seconds later, we want it to loop back to place on a location. So at the end, 1 second after this stops playing, it'll just restart playing. So I'm going to hit compile, save, and exit. So now that works. But we need to add something in there for our spring pad, because when we go over here and we step on this, we get no feedback. If there's no oomph to it, it's just okay, we just did that. With the lack of custom sounds and all we have to work with was what's in here, we're going to work with what's in the starter content, but you're more than welcome to find your own sound files, add your own in here. So I guess what we can do is we can add explosion, and I'm going to use the explosion cue, so it'll incorporate both of those. So what we need to do is we need to go to our assets folder, map assets, go into our launcher, and after it tells our player to do the Launchpad custom event, then what we want to do is we need to figure out where it was. And we can make our own attenuation settings later, but since this is a small map, it's not going to matter all that much. But still, we want to come out from there, and we want to play sound at location. Lovely. We come back in here, go to our audio folder, and select our explosion cue, and then hit the little arrow. Now, it's going to play it at 000 location. But what we can do is actually, as player base, we'll drag off from there, and we're going to find our location. We want to get actor location. Sounds good to me. So we'll get our actor location, and then we'll drag this yellow pin over to this yellow pin. It's going to play it at that location at normal volume levels, and we don't have an attenuation setting configured yet, but that's something we can work on later on. So let's test to see if this actually works. We're going to hit compile and then save. And now what happens when we come over here and step on the pad? We get sound, yay! So every time you step in that box and it launches you up, it will play the sound. Not the best one in the world, but oh well. It is a sound, and it gets us something. Alright. So that's actually not bad. We can live with that. Well, what about some music? Well, you have starter music in here. That's awesome. So, I don't know why they have a starter music cue, because it's just going to play that. But let's actually go in and look at our UI folder again, and our widgets main menu _W. Now, when we first open up our widget, and I'll show you how to create your own custom widgets, but there's no background image. There's just a bunch of stuff. Okay, we're not going to focus too much on this part of it for right now. We're going to go directly to our graph button right over here. And we don't know if we have an event begin play or not anywhere in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to find an empty spot, and I'm going to right click and type in event. It's not going to work. So maybe this isn't the best place to locate it. Well, we know that it works if we go to our map. Let's go ahead and do a save all, so we save what we've got. I'm going to go back to my main menu map, And just like we did before, we're going to come to Blueprints at the down arrow, Open Level Blueprint, and leave this the way it is. That's in there for a specific reason. We want to come off from that right there, and again, play sound at location. We're not worried about location right now, so what we want to do is we can either click on the drop down box and find the starter music, starter music 01. Let's go ahead and find our volume multiplier, and let's set that to 0.3. And then, how long was that actually? So we can go back to our audio folder and find that. Starter music is 47.85. So we're going to round that up to 48 seconds. Add our delay in. And we'll call that 48 seconds there. And we're going to go ahead and loop it back to here. Now, one thing I will say is if you start adding in a bunch of things and you want to have this on its own separate section, you can actually come over here from your first node, and we're going to leave the connection there. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag off from the executable, and we're going to type in sequence. We're going to add a sequence node in, and then we're going to hold down the control key and left click on the line so we can break that. And now we're going to grab these two and we're going to move them over here and move from the executable of then one over to the executable here. This is going to run its own separate line. So if we want to add extra stuff in here that's important, that we don't want to be screwed up by this loop here, then we can do that now by having a sequence node. So we're going to hit compile, save, and I'm going to go ahead and close that, and I'm going to select play. Now we have music in the background. It's awesome. Alright, so you get the idea of how you can actually add sounds into different events. So I'm actually going to go back to our map. So we've added a sound to our spring pad. We've added some background ambience to what's going on here. So we can actually run around and we hear things. And we have at least a sound for when we hit the spring pad. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's starting to sound a little more interesting and feel like something now instead of just this blank, meaningless environment. Alright, awesome. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up is all of my videos that I'm doing now are not monetized because as of this time, I don't meet the requirements for the YouTube partnership program. And what that means is if I monetize my videos with advertisements, then since I am no longer eligible because I don't have 1,000 subscribers, then I can no longer generate any revenue whatsoever from the advertising in the videos. So for right now, all of my videos are currently being put out without monetization, meaning I am not generating any money from these videos whatsoever. So little things like you guys purchasing the and I prefer that you submit payment for buying the simple multiplayer starter system that I've got via PayPal. That way I actually have direct access to my money, because if you do it directly on Discord, then I don't see that money for 45 days. And it doesn't do me any good for right now. I don't have any other source of income. This is my source of income. So I'm going to have to rely on creating content somehow that is going to generate a way of living for me. So if you choose you want to get the multiplayer system so that you can have the nice starter map where you can actually have multiplayer right off the get-go. and you guys can just jump in and start creating stuff, and your friends can join you, and you can play. Um, by purchasing this for $10 is a great start. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating more content that can be added into this and upgraded versions of the program. I'll also offer to Patreons who decide they want to go into the Patreon program and pledge money monthly to help support my work and my channel. I will offer up completed versions of where we are within the tutorial series and so forth. So if you want to download this right now of what we have, so that you can actually just jump in and create your own stuff and play what we already have in the series, I will make them available to Patreons to download those free instead of actually having to build their own versions of. But the best step to go is to purchase this base package, which is $10, and then I'll offer like a chat package. So now while we're in the game, we'll be able to hit the enter key, and it'll bring up a chat window, and you can type in a chat message and hit enter and send that message to your buddies. So if you're in a different section of the map, you can say, hey guys, come on over here. You can already use Discord and other voice programs like Ventrilo or Mumble or whatever, TeamSpeak, to create voice chat inside the game. You don't necessarily have to use the Steam voice system, but that is an option you can include. And if anybody's interested in setting up Steam voice, we can go through a tutorial series on that. But I'm not going to keep making a whole lot of videos. Well, I'm going to keep making videos, but I'm not going to keep building off of these tutorial series if there's no interest in them. So if you guys step up and want to help, that will be awesome. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and make a separate video just on that. So hopefully you learned something in this video, and you like where we're going with this, and it's helping to give you the confidence to start building a game. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.